Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Gray Hair and Tattoos. My name is Lonnie, and today I'm going to tell you the story of San Francisco and why it is so important to me for my positivity, for my mental health, just for me, period. So be sure to like and follow, and let me tell you the story behind my love affair of San Francisco. So I'm up at 3, I get ready, I'm out of the house by 4:30. By 5 o'clock, I'm at an airport, and by 6 o'clock, I'm on a plane flying to San Francisco. I do that at least once every 3 months. I spend the day, and then the last flight flying out of San Francisco, I'm on that plane coming home. Why do I love San Francisco so much? Well, I gotta tell you, San Francisco, even when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to San Francisco. Now, I'm a child of the 60s, and in the 60s, you know, you had Haight-Ashbury, you had the whole Summer of Love, and to me, it always was really cool. As I got older, I developed an addiction problem, and I didn't travel. I didn't go anywhere. Then in 2015, I got sober, and my son looked at me and he's like, "Hey mom, you're sober. Why don't we start working on things on your bucket list? You've always wanted to go to San Francisco. Why don't we go?" And that was the beginning of me absolutely starting to live a life that I never had lived. I had not been on a plane in probably 15 years. I didn't even know how to fly right. I booked my ticket with a name that didn't match my driver's license, and then I couldn't get home through TSA because they were like, "No, strange person, this isn't your ticket." So I was just so new to living life that the first thing I decided to live was visiting San Francisco. Now, when I got to San Francisco, I gotta tell you, I was out of shape. I hadn't worked out for decades. I had just quit smoking, and I don't know if you're familiar with San Francisco or not, but there's a lot of hills in San Francisco. And I'm not talking about like little mounds. No, 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 no. I'm talking about full-on climbing the Alps to get to your destination. And I remember walking through the city, and I would have to stop. I would have to stop and basically sit down and catch my breath and try not to throw up. But I did it. It felt like I was living again. And I always associate San Francisco with that feeling of just freedom to start enjoying my life. Freedom to start being me. Now, San Francisco always reminded me of like a really cool, hip vibe city. And when I would try to get ready for my trips, I was not confident enough in myself to be like, "Hey Lonnie, you're cool enough to go to the city and fit in, and you know, I don't want to stand out. I want the cool people to look at her and be like, oh my gosh, look how cool she is." I was not that person. I would spend hours, if not days, just agonizing over what to wear. I was always so sure that no matter what I picked out, it wasn't going to represent a confident person, because truthfully, I wasn't confident. And so now I go to San Francisco and I'm all like, hey, you know what? This is me. This is me. Whether you think I'm cool, whether you think I'm confident, I know I'm confident. I know I like myself. And I can walk through that city with my head held high and just be like, yeah, this is what I'm wearing today. It's more than a haircut. I always say that all the time. My trip to San Francisco is more than a haircut, because yes, I do get my haircut when I go up to San Francisco. So I'm like, you know what, we're in San Francisco so much, find a cool barber and get your haircut while we're there. Well, I found a really cool barber, and we've never stopped going to him. His name is Ken Thunderhawk, and he is like, he's like family to us. We meet up with him, just this tiny little barber shop, nothing fancy. He cuts our hair, and then we go down a couple of blocks, we go into a bodega, order some sandwiches, some iced tea and chips, and we walk a little bit farther and we sit in the park and we just have a beautiful conversation. And we get caught up and we talk about life and we talk about our future. I could get my hair cut anywhere, but just spending that time with Ken in the park talking about life makes it just amazing. To me, there's nothing cooler than sitting in North Beach, having a ginormous cup of cappuccino and watching the world go by. I love just to watch the people of all ages and genders and races. Everybody has a story and everybody's walking by, and I sit there and I think about my story, think about where I've come, where I am now, where I would like to be. And it just gives me a moment, just a moment in time where I can just drop in with myself. Could I do that at the Starbucks down the street from me? Absolutely I could. But would it have the same impact? Probably not. I'm taking myself out of my everyday routine. I'm taking myself out of the ordinary and I'm putting myself in an environment that is special to me. So since it's special and since it has a special meaning, it allows me to go deeper into my psyche because I'm not always there. It's like watching the same program over and over and over again, and you become immune to it. It becomes mundane. But by me taking myself out of my ordinary life and putting myself into this situation, it allows me to be like, wow, this is new. How am I feeling? It's like everything goes on hyperdrive, and it allows me to take a real deep dive into where I'm at and what I need to focus on. So that's my love affair with San Francisco. And my suggestion for you is for you to find your San Francisco. Find a place, and it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be far away, and it doesn't have to be fancy. But find a place that you keep special to yourself, whether it's a trip to the beach or a lake or a city or a park or a Starbucks. It doesn't matter, but make that place special. And then just allow yourself to go there. Go there and reflect on yourself. Give yourself a break from your everyday routine and make it special. Just a moment to be with yourself in your thoughts and your feelings. It gives you just that time. Find yourself a San Francisco. Find yourself someplace special. Find someplace where you just feel really close to yourself. Celebrate it and go back and visit it often. So that's my story. You know what? I have all sorts of stories, but this is one that is really super important to me. Please remember, find your spot, find your place that you can just stop the madness of the world that's going around us and just drop in with yourself. You're important, your physical health is important, your mental health, your emotional health is all very important. I hope you enjoyed my story, and please remember to like and follow, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye! Final thought, if you're wondering about the saran wrap on my hand, I actually had to go back in and get some places touched up that didn't hold the ink very well. Getting your knuckles tattooed is not only very painful, but it doesn't hold the color very well. If you're out there and you're wondering, you'll be like, gosh, I wonder if the second time you get tattooed in a very painful spot that you only got tattooed a couple of weeks ago would hurt. The answer is yes, it hurt worse the second time. So I'm gonna take my little sweaty saran wrapped hand home. I'm gonna wash it up, put some lotion on it, and there you go. There's the epitome of my love for you. I'm talking to you in the heat with my hand in saran wrap.